common thing you'll hear about Daredevil is that he has some of the most consistently entertaining stories in all of comics. There have been so many fantastic creative teams that have brought Daredevil to life in new and innovative ways. For example, Frank Miller's run on the character revitalized Daredevil, transforming him from a goofy, adventure of the week type of hero into the dark, grounded, and gritty character that we're all familiar with. Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil is not only one of the best Daredevil runs, but also one of the best Marvel comics of all time. That's because it challenged Daredevil and Matthew Murdock in a way that we've never seen before. Brubaker's run on Daredevil is a continuation of the pulpy noir tone that Bendis established in his run, but Brubaker then also continues to push Daredevil into some dark yet exciting new directions. Mark Waid's run is a departure in tone from the dark and depressing themes that defined Daredevil comics prior to that point. This series gave Daredevil a much needed shot of optimism and lighthearted fun, while remaining true to the thrilling and action-packed set pieces that Daredevil fans had come to love. And Chip Zdarsky's run that ended recently is widely regarded as one of the best contemporary ongoing titles up until it ended in 2023. All of this to say, there have been a lot of really good Daredevil comics, but in 2010 there was a little dark patch in Daredevil's history. A book written by author Andy Diggle known as Daredevil Shadowland. Daredevil Shadowland was a 5-issue miniseries that sees Matthew Murdock, aka Daredevil, take control of an ancient ninja organization known as the Hand. But as Daredevil grows more familiar with how the Hand operates, something unfolds in the background that causes Matthew Murdock to become an increasingly dark and sinister character. Now, in control of one of the most powerful ninja organizations of all time, Daredevil transforms from a kind-hearted hero into a vengeful and authoritarian dictator, ruling over Hell's Kitchen with an iron fist and a lust for vengeance. On paper, this sounds like a really cool premise, especially because there's a lot that's happened to Daredevil contextually before this run that makes sense as to why his hope and commitment to idealism would slowly erode over time. Matthew Murdock is a hero who has a steadfast commitment to justice, both as a vigilante and as a lawyer. But despite being wholehearted and true in his ways, Matthew constantly finds himself in situations that beat him down both mentally and physically. He's broken bones, he's lost loved ones, and he's been exiled from the legal community he's worked so hard to be a positive force in. So after enduring all that trauma and baggage, it makes sense that Matthew Murdock would finally lose faith in the systems he's worked so hard to protect. And I think this context gives us a really interesting opportunity to explore the idea of what it means to lose faith in institutions after seeing them fail you time and time again, and how when given the ability to enact meaningful change through some powerful organization, absolute power can be very quick to corrupt the mind of a leader. Unfortunately, that's not really what happens in this book. Rather than taking a nuanced approach and exploring the mental deterioration that can weigh down on a vigilante, and then showing how that vigilante can quickly corrupt when finally given access to absolute power, Diggle explains Murdock's evil ways by putting all the blame on an evil magical demon. Quite frankly, it feels like a cheap cop-out that lessens the impact of Daredevil becoming a corrupt person. On top of that, the resolution to this story is particularly uneventful. It really just comes down to Daredevil throwing hands with a bunch of Marvel heroes in this big action set piece. The climax had the potential to be a very tender moment that shows us a Matthew Murdock who is forced to confront his friends, and in doing so, he realizes he's become the one thing he's sworn to stop. But because of the limited depth found in the story, the climax really just feels like the plotline a child would write when banging action figures together. Ironically, however, the Daredevil issues aren't even the worst part about Shadowland. No, the worst part about Daredevil Shadowland is the tie-in issues. Power Man, Elektra, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Bullseye, and a few other characters all get their own tie-in stories that show us what they were doing while the Shadowland event was underway. This is common practice for Marvel. Usually when there's a big event story going on, Marvel brings in other characters to showcase the epic scope of the event and how it's changing the Marvel status quo. Unfortunately, these tie-ins don't really have that effect. Instead of using these issues as an opportunity to flesh out the brevity of an evil Daredevil through the lens of his friends, loved ones, and even foes, these issues just feel like disjointed and messy stories that are only loosely related to what's going on. Personally, I found myself confused and frustrated reading these tie-ins. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some good in this story too. Roberto de la Torre's art is particularly awe-inspiring. There are some insanely beautiful action shots and splash pages that show Daredevil soaring through the city with his ninja sidekicks, and those are always nice to look at. But all around, this book is just lacking in too many different departments to make it a truly innovative, fresh, or exciting title. The caliber of quality that Daredevil stories usually adhere to is just not found here. But if you walk into this book recognizing that, you might be able to walk away having a little bit of fun. Truth be told, I don't hate this book as much as other comics I've read. Maybe that's because I kind of knew this was notorious for being bad before I read it, so when I did read it, the shallow writing and clunky plot didn't bother me as much as it could have. One thing's for sure though, Daredevil Shadowland is a crucial moment in Daredevil's history. It brings Matt down to his lowest point, turning him into an unrecognizable monster. And because Matt became so twisted, tortured, and evil in this run, when Mark Waid took over for writing Daredevil promptly after Shadowland, Waid opted to move Matthew Murdock's life in a different direction, delivering a 4-year run on the character that fans and critics adored, filled with lighthearted optimism, episodic storytelling, and vibrant artwork. So maybe Shadowland isn't all that bad. You gotta hit rock bottom before you can truly recover, I guess. But what do you guys think about Daredevil Shadowland? Let me know down below. Also, if you want to support the channel, make sure to check out Organic Price Books. It's a website where you can buy discounted graphic novels like omnibus editions and oversized hardcovers for up to 50% discounts. And while you're there, remember to use code YooHoo on checkout for extra discounts. Also, is there anything you guys want me to talk about in future videos? Let me know down below in the comments and I'll see what I can do. And if you made it this far, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. As always, hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you for watching.